we're going to take a look at chapter 5. Now this one graph here, I'm going to show it to you in the 3 different ways that we would have solved it, right? Whether it's going to graph it, whether it's going to count it, whether it's going to calculate it. So if I have a graph, I can count it by using rise over run. That's the first method. Rise is either going up or down. I know up is positive, down is negative, or left. And then run is left or right. To the right, it's positive. To the left, it's negative. Draw this little chart that could help you to remember it. So if I go count all the way from the left point, the one that's all the way on the left, this is the one that's on the left. So that's the one I want to count from. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 down. So that's a -7 because it's down. And then I have to reach my point, so I have to go my run. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a +4. So in this case, my rise was -7. My run was 4. So my slope, I can't simplify that. My slope is -7 over 4 for this one. Another way I can solve this is if I use the slope formula. So the slope formula is m equals y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. Now those 2's and the 1's, remember, those are just like little footnotes. So if this point at the top is -3, 4, -3, 4. And this one that I have on the line is 1, -3. So right now I have these 2 points. I have -3, 4, and I have 1, -3. Well, let's label this, right? That's my x1, my y1, x2, y2. So I substitute that into the formula and go to solve. Okay, so I have -3 is my y2 minus 4. I put that all over my x2, which is 1, minus, because that comes from the original problem, and then -3. So sometimes we tend to forget that it's a double negative in that case. I don't want to forget my integer rule, so I'm going to write this again using KCO or the boom boom rule. -3 plus -4 is in the numerator, and 1 plus 3 is in the denominator. So when I calculate my numerator, I get -7. When I calculate my denominator, I get 4. So -7 over 4. Hey, that's exactly what I got before. And that's true because I did it off the same graph. Now, there's one other way that we might ask you to calculate something. So I'm just going to quickly erase this here. So let's say we have the point, and I know there's like lines and stuff, but whatever. You guys get this. Okay, so we have a point -3, 4, and a slope of a -7, 4, and it's telling us to graph it. And for those of you that can't read cursive, this is graph it. Well, the first thing I do, I'm going to plot my point. So I'm going to go to -3, up 4, and plot my point. I'm also going to label it just so I remember that that's my -3, 4, and I don't have to look back at the numbers. Now it says to use my slope. So I kind of go back to that first method of rise over run. So it says, remember, this is my rise over my run. So in this case, I'm going down 7 from this point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? I went down 7 using my slope. Then I go to the right 4 because it's a +4, and I get 1. Whoops. I go to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to plot my point there. And guess what? We actually just graphed it using a point and the slope. So I take my ruler and I go ahead and draw not that because I didn't go through the 2 points there. Maybe this will work. There we go. I take my ruler and draw a line and arrows through the 2 points. So that's a couple of concepts that we learned in chapter 5. Another concept was substitution. If you have an equation, let's say that equation is -1/2 x minus 1, and it's y equals. And it has a whole chart, and it's kind of like, hey, you're going to figure out if x was 3, what is y? And right, you have a whole bunch of numbers listed down here. Let's say that's 4, and then 5, and so on and so forth. Well, in this case, we just go back to what we remember with expressions and equations, and we substitute. So we take this 3 and put it in for x. So I get y equals, because I don't know what that is, I'm looking for that, -1/2. Well, I'm substituting my x with 3, and I'm going to keep that in parentheses, minus 1. And then I solve. Multiply this, bring this down. I get -3/2. Okay, I don't get a fraction. That's okay. Not the end of the world. Remembering our fractions, this is the same as saying y equals -3/2 minus 2/2. Remember, these go straight across. I calculate this. So y equals -5/2. You can write -5/2, or you can write -2.5 or -2.5, however you want to write it. And then you go and plot that point. So this is 3, comma, -2.5. So I'm just going to erase our work. So this is saying that this point is 3, comma, -2.5. I can plot that. Let's plot that above. So we go to -3. Sorry, we go to 3. 1, 2, 3. And we go down 2.5. And it would be right there in the middle. And you keep doing that for the problems. Again, if you have questions, ask us. We're here to help.